if you allow me, for purposes of this opening today, I just want to share with you the impressions I had growing up in Sekuru as a young pupil, and how the headmaster impacted on me. And of course, those were many years, but I can still vividly remember the first headmaster I met was Mr. Mutwango, the late Zungo Mutwango, eventually became councillor. But in 1960, when I first went to primary one, I remember I had great difficulty with, that writing 8, you write 8 and continue writing 8, because I'd never been to nursery school. In fact, I think my father felt I should not have gone to school because I was looking physically very small. In fact, that explains why the name is Kalonzo and not Kilonzo. Right? I was very, very tiny. And eventually, in primary 5, believe it or not, Councillor Munyambu here actually taught me in 1965. And if you allow, I'm sure you'll not mind me using his example because I've used it before. But then you see, soon after Mr. Mutwango was transferred quickly and Mr. Francis Mwangangi took over. I think Mheshimiwa David Musila and Francis Mwangangi may have been together in Kiome or places like those. And I'm trying to really, for purposes of helping you as head teachers, tell you how as a progressive, if you like, a successful headmaster is seen by the little ones. And I also quote the third headmaster that I remember, Mr. Kianda. But what I remember of the headmasters is, first of all, their presence was felt. I mean, it is never to be assumed whenever a headmaster walked into any place, from the perspective of the pupils, they took notice. I remember then, because Sekuru is a very hot place, Mr. Mwangangi used to like to wear ile suruali, kaptula. And then you wear long socks, long stockings, yeah? And then you put the red marking point and the blue marking point there. And he was conspicuous. And you could not just... And then we gave him a nickname. We called him Mr. Ikavo. Because he used to say, Manzi Ikavo, to be able to deal with indisciplined cases. And so even today, when I see him, that's the first thing, because he's still alive. I remember that. In 1965, Mr. Munyambu came to teach. Can't remember whether he had been trained or not. He can tell you. But again, he was also wearing the cap. I can remember that. And in 1965 again, the late Kianda thought I was very good in poetry, because the teachers seemed to like me, so because of all that, I mean, the fearful aspect, not necessarily fearful, but when you're obedient, and I'm sure you're able to pick your pupils, as I talk to you, I'm sure you can even visualize in your own minds watoto kama hawa, and then you see they really had the face. So in 65 in primary 5, I was asked to recite a poem on the importance of education. I didn't know, I'd never seen since I was born a tie, and I'd never worn shoes. So I was placed on top of a high table, and the late Kianda kindly gave me his tie, and actually tied it. And I was meant to stand there without shoes. Those days there were no cameras. I wish somebody took a photo of that, of that photo. I mean, it would be such a valuable thing for me. But that was motivation. And the subject here, do you motivate the good performance? I remember also another mwalimu who bears the name of Mheshimiwa Musila. In fact, the names are exactly the same, David Musila. He later became, he became chief of Sekuru, and he taught us when I was in primary 6. Now, David Musila, to motivate the class, comes in. He was also very smart. And unlike a Mudaraka classmate of mine who thought Mwalimu did not know what nature study and science meant, because he came and, you remember those days of civics, nature study and science? And Mudaraka akaulizwa in my class to pronounce the name nature study and science.